Hi, I'm Akmal Sayed and I'm a sales engineer here at Wallaroo AI. Today we're going to go over how we can deploy a forecasting model with the help of Wallaroo. We'll also see how Wallaroo makes it seamless to integrate our forecasting model with our greater tech stack. Lastly, we'll close the loop by seeing how we can automate this process with the help of Wallaroo orchestrations. To give some context on our forecasting model, it's an LSTM which forecasts demand at the monthly level. This kind of forecasting model is popular in every industry, but especially important to CPG. It's often performed at different levels of the business to estimate future demand. And so we're at the stage where we've already trained and tested our model. We're happy with its performance and we're ready to put it in production. This is where our Wallaroo journey begins. Let's jump right into it. We're here in our Jupyter notebook, which will be our Python development environment for today. To begin, we're going to start off by importing the Python libraries which we'll require for our notebook. Included in those libraries is our pip installable Wallaroo SDK. Next up, we'll connect to our Wallaroo client, and in that same cell, we'll also connect to our Wallaroo workspace. Once we're set up, we can move on to what I like to call the 1, 2, 3 of model deployment with Wallaroo. That's because with Wallaroo and 3 lines of code, I'm able to get my model deployed to the cloud and into production. In the first line of code, we upload our model. We provided our model's name, file path, and framework. In this instance, our model happens to be a TensorFlow model, but Wallaroo also supports your favorite ML frameworks. Along with ML frameworks, Wallaroo also supports the deployment of custom inference pipelines and arbitrary Python code, perfect for more traditional non-ML forecasting methods. Once our model is uploaded, we can move on to our second line of code. In the second line of code, we configure our deployment hardware. Wallaroo being installed on Kubernetes, this abstraction makes Kubernetes fun and easy to use. With it, we're able to configure our deployment, including the amount of CPUs and memory allocation, allowing us to keep our deployments lean and performant. Once we're finished with our configurations, we can move on to the third line of code. Our third line of code is where we're able to use our uploaded model and configurations to deploy our pipeline. Deploying our pipeline takes about 45 seconds. And once we're deployed, we're now able to test our pipeline. Let's first import some data. It's already been scaled. We can now call Wallaroo's built-in infer function on our data. Calling infer, we get a few things back. We get our input, and we also receive our inference. Descaling our inference, we're able to see our forecast value. Once we're happy with our deployment, we can get our pipeline's endpoint URL, which we can use to make API calls and integrate into our other applications. And so with 3 lines of code, we can see how Wallaroo makes it seamless to deploy our models to the cloud. Now that we have our model in production, we're able to forecast out several data points into the future. In practice, forecasting is often an aggregation of multiple forecasts done at more granular levels. Because of the ease of deployment and inference with Wallaroo, we're able to do that, deploying multiple models and then aggregating their forecasts to get an overall forecast is seamless with Wallaroo. Now, your stakeholders probably don't look at forecasts in a Python development environment. That's why we'll take advantage of Wallaroo's connectors feature. With the help of Wallaroo's connectors, we're able to output our forecasts to our favorite cloud database or data lake, allowing us to integrate the output of our forecast with our preferred method of visualization. I have a Tableau dashboard which connects to our data lake where we export our forecasts outputted by our Wallaroo deployed pipeline. Using it, we're able to customize our dashboard for our stakeholders' needs. Combining Wallaroo's connectors with its ease of deployment, Wallaroo helps fast-track our ML models from R&D to the hands of our stakeholders for business decisions. Using Wallaroo, not only are we able to bring AI to our BI, but it enables us to do it at speed and skill, accelerating the ROI and business impact realized by AI. We've got our predictions and our integration, but how can we automate this? The good news is Wallaroo's orchestration feature allows us to do just that. With it, we're able to schedule our forecasting job so that it runs when it makes sense to our business. We can even have it run overnight so that our most recent forecasts are available for our stakeholders first thing in the morning. We can also run it on demand for those ad hoc requests. Best of all, while it runs, we're able to check in on it. Let's head to the Operations Center to see how we can do that. The Operations Center is the central way to manage multiple deployments with Wallaroo. In this view, we're able to find our uploaded models along with our deployed active and inactive pipelines, and our orchestrations. To see orchestration logs, we'll click on the Workloads tab. Over here, we can see our active and inactive workloads. If we click on our orchestration task, which just ran, and click on the Task Runs tab, looking in the Logs column, we can see that we're able to access the task's logs. This allows us to see how our task performed in detail, along with its completion status. As we can see here, our orchestration task ran through and completed successfully. The awesome part is if we switch back over to our Python development environment, we're able to view the logs in just as much detail using the Wallaroo SDK. Aside from being completely automated, orchestrations help us ensure that all of the downstream BI dashboards that rely on them, like the one we saw earlier, can be automatically updated so that stakeholders always have the most recent and up-to-date data. Lastly, not only do orchestrations allow us to automate our forecasting, but we can also deploy and undeploy our pipelines from our orchestration. This ensures that our deployments aren't consuming our cloud resources when they're not being used. And with that, we've seen how, with the help of Wallaroo, we were able to seamlessly deploy our pipelines to the cloud. Along with deployment, we were able to leverage Wallaroo's connectors to integrate our forecast with our visualizations, allowing us to bring AI to our BI and accelerating the time to business impact with AI. Lastly, we saw how Wallaroo's orchestrations allow us to automate this workflow, enabling our stakeholders to have access to the latest data and on the front end, all while providing us logs so that we can observe the tasks and their statuses on the back end.